Good afternoon, everyone. This is Autumn Berteau, Volunteer Manager at DiscoverE. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today. Today we are joined with our partner, Design Squad Global, as they present 3 hands-on activities that you can do with students to celebrate engineering on Global Day. In a bit, you will hear more about Design Squad Global and the work that they do. But first, for anyone that's not familiar with Global Day, it's an national celebration taking place during Engineers Week on February 24th, focusing on celebrating the accomplishments of engineers, giving students a chance to experience engineering, and sharing amazing innovations. We'll talk a little bit more about Global Day in a bit. And so before we get started, let's go over a few brief housekeeping items. So this webinar is going to be about 30 to 40 minutes long. It uses voice over internet, so you can either listen to it through your computer. If that's not working, you can call in through a teleconference line, which the number is listed on the screen. We are recording this webinar so that if you want to go back and watch it again, or you missed a part of it, you can always go back and watch it. At the end of this presentation, we'll have some time for Q&A. So if you think of any questions along the way, type them into the little box on your GoToWebinar window, and we will be happy to try to get to those questions at the end. And if we don't get to your question, you can also contact us directly. So, and just a note too, we have a survey after the webinar, so it will come via email, and that we encourage you to fill that out to give us feedback. And for one lucky winner who does the survey, we will be providing a free Design Squad Global notebook. So without further ado, let me introduce our presenter, Saranya Sathanathan, Outreach Project Director of Design Squad Global.
Thanks, Autumn, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have a lot of exciting resources from Design Squad to share with you that will help you feel well prepared for National Engineers Week coming up in a few weeks. So let's go ahead and get started. We recognize that some of you might not be familiar with Design Squad. So for all of you newbies out there, we are going to give you a brief introduction of what Design Squad Global is. And then I'll go into 3 activities that are perfect for an event to engage kids on Global Day of the Engineer, which is also part of National Engineers Week. And we'll share with you some of our additional resources for educators, engineers, and volunteers. And you'll also get a sneak peek look into what's next for Design Squad and upcoming events on the horizon that you can get involved in. If this is your first exposure to Design Squad, I want to say welcome. Design Squad's inception in 2007 came out of a popular PBS Kids program, Zoom, for those of you who are familiar with it, in order to increase children's understanding of engineering and the design process and show them how engineering connects to their everyday lives. The show followed 2 teams of teens as they designed and built projects for real clients, and the spin-off TV series showcased engineer co-hosts Judy and Adam as they traveled across the country, working with teens to tackle a variety of different engineering projects and turn their dreams into reality. So as you can see, the program produced an array of resources, including full episodes, animations, and career profiles. The program expanded and became a multimedia experience and collaborative design community with short videos, hands-on activities, games, design challenges, and more on pbskids.org. And during that time, Design Squad also worked with over 100 educational and professional partners in doing outreach events, workshops, and trainings. So to show you some of the impacts that this program has had, Design Squad's website has won an Emmy Award and a Parents' Choice Gold Award. And then offline, the program has provided over 25,000 engineers, teachers, informal educators, and families with the tools they need to help kids develop their design process skills. This map just visualizes some of the 8,000 plus programs across the U.S. that have used Design Squad resources since 2007. So transitioning here into some of the activity ideas for Engineers Week, I wanted to draw your attention to a new DiscoverE campaign, which is part of this year's E-Week, called Global Day of the Engineer, which happens on February 24th, and it extends the invitation to celebrate engineering around the world. And people can participate by pledging to celebrate engineers, sharing a local innovation, and by engaging students in a hands-on activity. Design Squad Global is one of DiscoverE's content partners for Global Day of the Engineer. We've provided 3 hands-on activities which are available for download on the Global Day pledge page in 7 different languages. Each of the challenge sheets explains the challenge and provides some global context for the activity, provides you with the materials list, and walks you through the steps of brainstorming, designing, building, testing, and redesigning the activities with your kids. It also provides some problem-solving tips and great discussion questions for guiding kids through the activity. You might be wondering, what makes these activities global and why is that important? The issues that are confronting today's world at large are common to all people in all places. Issues like climate change and its impacts on our communities, minimizing energy consumption and using alternative resources, protecting the environment, improving health and quality of life, just to name a few. The 3 activities that we're providing all address and touch on these issues that are challenges for people all over the world. And we want kids to know that engineering is a global career field. Today's engineers work with people from all kinds of places and backgrounds to come up with solutions that make a difference in the world. So the first activity is seismic shakeup, and the challenge asks kids to design a structure that can survive an earthquake. Kids test their clay and straw structure on a shake table, which is a device engineers use to simulate the shaking of an earthquake. You'll build a rudimentary and very inexpensive version of a shake table using common materials: 2 pieces of cardboard, 2 tennis balls, rubber bands, a ruler for a handle, and tape to secure it. Hundreds of millions of people live in places around the world where earthquakes are common. That's why earthquake engineering is so important. By designing buildings, bridges, and other structures that can withhold violent shaking, engineers can save lives. And this is a brand new activity that is available exclusively on the Global Day pledge page, and it comes with the challenge sheet and leader notes, which will walk you through all the steps of leading the activity. So this is a very versatile activity, and it can be done with small to very large groups. You'll need to build roughly 1 shake table for every 10 kids or so, and the leader notes also provide the quantity of materials needed to do this activity with a large group of participants. So if you have about 50 participants, it lists the quantities that you'll need. It's also a pretty easy activity to do with younger kids, so elementary school ages all the way up through middle school ages. And then you can make the activity more challenging for older kids by adding in different criteria like building to a certain height, or limiting the number of straws they have to build with. And you'll find that kids spend a lot of time trying to make their designs perfect before venturing out to test them. So encourage them to test out their designs as they're building, so they can learn what is working and what needs improvement. And it's such an easy activity to do that you'll find that they'll build several different iterations of their design. So just keep encouraging them to keep testing and improving the designs that they're building. So I'll show you a little video of this activity as we tested this in-house while we were developing the activity. So those are just a few examples of designs. So you can see that they kind of range from very simple to very elaborate, depending on how much time the kids have to work and their creativity. The next activity is called Helping Hand, and it challenges kids to build an assistive device, which is a tool with a long handle that helps you grab an object that's hard to reach. As kids design their helping hand, they learn about real-world engineering, since in places across the world, engineers have created assistive devices like wheelchairs, walkers, and prosthetic arms and legs that help make life better for people who are injured, disabled, or elderly. Since many helping hands incorporate levers into their designs, this is also a great activity to introduce kids to the science behind how levers work. And all of this is explained in the challenge sheet, which you can download on the Global Day pledge page. So this activity is great for a small to medium-sized group, although it can be done in large groups and with adequate supervision. A great way to get kids motivated is to create a prize bag with treats and goodies which will hang up and out of reach. And the goal is for kids to test out and use their helping hand devices to reach up and get the bag down to share the prizes with their peers. This activity can be done in pairs or in groups of 3, and if they are using paint stirrers for the materials to build their helping hands with, you'll want to kind of prepare that ahead of time and poke the holes into the paint stirrers so that you don't have to spend time doing that with your kids during the activity. So just to show you a few examples of what kids have built, here are a few different examples. Some have used rulers, skewers, and sticks. So there are a lot of variety of different designs that kids can build, and it's really fun, especially when they have some sort of goal or prize to kind of reach for. And the last and most challenging activity that we've provided is called Emergency Shelter. And the challenge there is to design and build an emergency shelter that's sturdy and big enough to hold a person. But before kids design their shelters, they're asked to think about who might need a shelter and why. Around the world, people seeking emergency shelter might be hikers or campers, homeless people, refugees, or people caught in a flood, hurricane, or other natural disaster. So for this activity, kids decide who they want to design their shelter for and think of the types of features that would make this a good shelter. This activity is really good for a smaller group of kids and requires a bit of a floor space in addition to a longer building time. It often requires several hands, so one child to hold down part of the structure while another tapes pieces together. So this is a really great team building activity for groups of 3 to 5 kids. And instead of jumping right into building their structure, teams should spend an adequate amount of time designing and thinking about the materials they have to work with and how they're going to use them efficiently. The time spent early on planning usually results in a better end product. So I'm just going to show you an example of an emergency shelter from prototype to full scale. So those are our 3 different activities: seismic shakeup, helping hand, and emergency shelter. And you'll have chances to ask more questions about those. You can type them into the chat box or type them in later at the end of the presentation. And we would really love to have people share photos of the activities and post about your event on social media. And you can use the hashtag Global Engineering or hashtag DSG to create and share your posts. So I'm going to take a step back from Global Day of the Engineer and let you know about Design Squad's other resources. Design Squad has been at the forefront of informal engineering education. It's provided thousands of educators, many of whom have had no experience or previous training with STEM and the tools that they need to help spark their students' interest in engineering. So if you go to the Parents and Educators page of the Design Squad website, you'll find additional activities that are aligned to standards and arranged by content area. And you can use these activities in your classrooms, in after-school programs, in libraries and museums, and at events and at home. There are also 7 educators guides. All of them are available for free download on the website. They all contain, together more than 50 hands-on engineering and invention activities. So whether you want information about putting on an event, finding different activities to do with kids at school or after school, you name it, these educators guide contain everything that you need. And they come with student handouts and step-by-step facilitator notes. And again, these are all available on the Parents and Educators website. If you go to Design Squad on the PBS Kids page, and then find the Parents and Educators page, you can find all of this information there. And then lastly, there's also a self-guided workshop on how to lead engineering activities, which include videos that explain science, math, and engineering concepts. So check it out if you're needing extra resources and support for kind of finding the right activity or figuring out ways in which you can lead hands-on engineering activities or events with kids. So as many of you have already seen, Design Squad is going global. It's launching on Global Day of the Engineer, which is February 24th, which is at the end of this month. Design Squad Global connects kids to their peers from around the world, empowering them to solve global engineering challenges and expand their cross-cultural understanding. So if you go to the kids website, you'll already see some of the changes with our new Design Squad logo and a cleaner look that makes all the relevant content visible for kids. So you can see the different sections: watch, design, build, and then games. We'll also be producing new videos, engineering profiles, exciting new games. So be lookout on for some of the fun things that you can share with the young audiences that you know of. Design Squad Global also has a brand new outreach project connecting kids around the world through collaborative hands-on engineering projects. I'm going to play a video for you to take a closer look. And depending on how good your internet speed is, your video might be a little bit choppy. So bear with me and take a look at this wonderful project.
Design Squad Global offers authentic opportunities for middle school youth around the world to collaborate on real-world engineering projects.
Design Squad Global is young people learning to open up their mind to a whole world of possibilities.
It's STEM education, it's global competencies, it's creating the future leaders.
Funded by the IEEE and the Candida Fund, after-school programs in Boston, Mississippi, and Soweto, South Africa work together to design solutions to help elders in their communities.
So the kids wanted to make a step stool where the grandma can get on it and reach something that's high, and they put a cushion on the top, and underneath they put old tire tracks that they cut up because they didn't want the stool to slide around on the concrete floor. They were really excited about it.
So they designed a solar panel cushion for senior citizens that'll give them massages while they rest.
A medicine wall where they would drop medicine into little tubes and they would go into these little cups of water for daily.
Once they finished designing, partner sites presented their engineering solutions to each other.
The main thing was also for young people to interact.
Because even the concept of like someone across the world is seeing their work, it's mind-blowing to them.
Their interaction resulted in a few surprises.
The perception that our kids had about the kids in South Africa, that they were poor, malnutritious, not fed, not happy.
Kids in South Africa are convinced that you as kids are very rich.
And my kids are like, rich? Like, that doesn't describe us at all. So it was really good to see them break down those cultural barriers that are stereotypes.
And it was really fun to see them that they understand that we all live in countries with challenges.
Now, thanks to funding from the National Science Foundation and the Lemelson Foundation, 12 after-school partners in Southern Africa and the U.S. will collaborate to develop hands-on engineering activities. The project will ultimately be disseminated in the U.S. and in 13 countries across Asia and Africa, with an estimated reach of 125,000 kids, all working together to solve real-world problems.
For us in our country, engineering is still a predominantly male industry, and our girls sometimes are scared to use their imagination. It just opened up their minds a bit to thinking about how they could get these kind of jobs, how they could go into this industry.
When I talk about it with my boss, with the people that I work with, it's like I am from the future.
So I hope that video played well on your computers, but if it didn't, that same video is available on the Parents and Educators page. So, you know, go to it, watch it, learn and read a little bit more about the project, or contact me if you have any questions. Just to show you a little bit about some of the things that came out of these collaborations, a club in Boston, Massachusetts that was partnered with a club in Botswana were able to exchange some deep questions and answers that built their cultural competencies. So you can just take a look here and see that the kids in Botswana asked their friends from Boston about how do you respect your culture? And the kids in Boston asked their peers in Botswana, what are your families like? And so the answers that came out of that were really rich and deep, and I think the kids really did learn a lot and break down those stereotypes that they had about one another. And then as far as the engineering goes, one of the Design Squad Global Clubs in Botswana was inspired to design a pill taker for sick kids. Botswana has the second highest prevalence of HIV in the world, and it's not easy for kids to remember to take their medication. So these club members saw the need in their community to come up with a solution, and they ended up creating a mousetrap-inspired fun pill taker, realizing that if taking daily medication becomes fun for kids, they'll be more apt to take their medication. So let's take a look at what they invented. So for all of these projects, kids used local resources, anything that they had in their communities to build their different projects. And then we do have a new outreach guide that will be available in August of 2016, which is the club guide, and it will contain several hands-on engineering activities as well as the open-ended project like the one that you saw in the previous slide. So how can you get involved with this amazing project now? We have a few upcoming events, including a Twitter chat about sharing resources to inspire the next generation of global engineers. So if you have any resources that you'd like to share with the volunteer community, insights and observations about how to inspire future engineers, and best practices and strategies for engaging kids now, please do join us on Wednesday, February 17th with hashtag Global Engineer, and the Twitter chat starts at 12 p.m. Eastern. And Design Squad Global will also be at DiscoverE's Family Day on February 27th at the National Building Museum in Washington, D.C. We've done this event before. It's a popular hit amongst the crowd. And Nate will be there, Nate Ball, who's a co-host of Design Squad Global. He'll be there and he'll be demonstrating his mechanical powered device that he uses to ascend and climb to the top of the Great Hall. So there will be shows throughout the day. Please come out and say hi for this wonderful event for kids of all ages. And lastly, Design Squad Global will be participating in DiscoverE's Global Marathon on March 10th. So come out to our session about building engineering and global competencies through outreach and hear directly from a return Peace Corps volunteer who led Design Squad Global with her youth during her service in Botswana. So for that fun pill taker design, she was the club leader at the time and led those kids through the different engineering activities and worked together with their partners in Boston and kind of building these cultural competencies. So she'll talk about the impacts that this experience had in her youth in building 21st century skills. So attend the session to learn how you can get involved and start making a difference in kids' lives around the world. So I think that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for attending. We really do hope that this has helped you think a little bit more about the types of activities you can do during Engineers Week, in particular Global Day of the Engineer. And if you have any inquiries regarding Design Squad Global, please feel free to contact me.
Thanks.
So now we want to, oh, go ahead, Autumn.
Sorry, I was just saying thank you, Saranya. That was great. Just wanted to reiterate, if you have any questions about Design Squad, you can contact Saranya. And if you have any other questions related to Global Day or anything else, contact us at DiscoverE. We do have a few minutes for some Q&A, and we've got, looks like, a couple of questions. So let me, I'll read out a question to you, Saranya, and if you want to go ahead and give an answer. We have someone who asks, are there some suggested materials for the full-scale shelter, for building the full-scale shelter?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the challenge sheet, which you can download on the pledge page, each of the challenge sheets has a list of suggested materials. So for the full-scale emergency shelter, you can use bamboo sticks. There's a particular size that you can get at either Home Depot or Lowe's, and then large garbage bags, so like the big black or white garbage bags, and tape and some string are really kind of the main materials for that activity. So all of the details are in the challenge sheet about the types of materials that you might need.
Okay, great. We also have a question from someone that says, will the webinar be available for review, online review next week? Yes, we will be posting the video and we'll be sending you the link after this webinar. Another question is someone has asked, are there any activities that I can do in under 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the seismic shake-up activity, if you want to do something pretty simple, that's an activity that you can, if you have the shake table set up, you can get that activity done in 30 minutes if you want your kids to build something pretty simple. Anywhere from 10 minutes to 15 minutes for just testing out one design works for seismic shakeup. And then if you go to the Design Squad website, we have several different activities. So we have over 60 activities that vary by level of difficulty. And so one that I would recommend is called Pop Fly. It's a very high energy activity with just a few materials that kids can do in a few minutes. And kind of the goal of that activity is to use paint stirrers, a wooden spool, and some tape to launch a ping pong ball high into the air. So if you go on the website, you can check out the activities that we have, and it'll tell you an estimate of the level of difficulty and time that it takes to do the activity.
Okay. We have another question, actually two questions I combined that are related to age. Someone wants to know, what activities do you recommend for older students? And then someone else has asked, what's the age range of students that that Design Squad is most appropriate for? I mean, are there ages? What's the range?
Yeah, so Design Squad, the activities are designed for kids in middle school ages, so kids ages 9 to 12, but we find that kids often do the activities from early middle school ages or even elementary school ages all the way through high school. And you can actually change the level of difficulty of some of these activities. If you take a look, you might be able to add in extra constraint or a challenge or criteria. As far as the older grades go, if you're thinking about upper middle school and high school ages, we have a few activities that are a little bit more complicated, some that involve circuits and building circuits. So the two that I would suggest are Dance Pad and Hidden Alarm that you might be able to do with some older kids in early high school and kind of late middle school.
Okay, great. Thanks, Saranya. Sorry we have a little musical interruption, but we could hear you. Just as far as the time to just wrap up, thank you everyone for your great questions. And if you have any additional questions, again, contact us. And also, we'll try to follow up with the folks that have asked additional questions by email. So again, please complete the survey that you'll receive by email. And thank you everyone so much, and I hope you have an exciting, fun, and successful Engineers Week.
Yeah, we hope to see tweets and posts of your activities.
Thanks.
Thanks.